This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social and Association with Forged Irish Stout and Empire Fight Store. It is a Tuesday evening. The General is here. He's sporting a bit of Jordan. He loves the Jordan, does the General. How are we, geez?
I'm good. Is that hat quadruple XL or
Why would it be quadruple XL?
because it's about 46 times too big for your head?
It's got a little thing on the back of it, but maybe I just don't suit hat. But if I do it too small, then it just compresses my head. I don't want to have like brain damage off the back of wearing a hat.
How are you feeling after your big weekend?
Very good, very surreal. I ain't spoke about it much. I've not name dropped it to anyone I've seen at all. I'm just gassed. I've looked at his tour dates. I'm wondering when I'm going to go and have a shindig abroad with him. Life's good, General.
I went to PDC Night of Champions last night at Leicester Square Theatre, and it was open to the public. It was like, I don't know, it was like 1,000 people. And I came outside and some bloke came up to me and said, "Is Parsons coming tonight?" And I just thought, what is life?
Mad old world we live in. I don't quite understand. Did you see, like, I was looking on the photo of yourself and Ed Sheeran, which I actually thought was quite funny because you thought just before, I don't know if it was sarcasm, but you're like, thought I'd get my post up with Ed before everyone
Well, I
else.
was, yeah.
Oh, okay, right, that's good then. But you see the comments on it, it's like, go on then, Shun. Was he there for Parsons, Shun? I mean,
Some bloke actually had a T-shirt made with your picture on it saying the Parsons effect.
yeah, I was at dinner with my family when that happened. I am yeah. What do you make of that one?
This world is so fucked.
You actually ain't wrong. Even
I mean, like,
gone mad.
the amazing thing, and I know I always like, our thing is I kind of belittle you a little bit. I kind of, but being serious, it's just amazing. It is just amazing how someone, like, it used to be a thing that you had to be intelligent, or you had to have a skill,
I
or
knew
you
that.
had to do well at school, or you had. But now it's just literally you can have, like, you, again, don't take this the wrong way, but you have absolutely no ability at all, and yet you're still doing really well. Like, people you are actually becoming a little bit of a name and a celebrity, and it's just, being a celebrity used to really involve at least having some kind of skill. So you could have a comedian, you could have a singer, you could have an actor. Now you move into the world of, maybe a businessman or an entrepreneur, or, someone with a bit of character and personality. And now you've literally got people who, obviously you're in that bracket, who have, you can't actually even pinpoint anything they're good at or what ability they have.
Thanks,
Yet
mate.
are still, what?
Thanks.
No, I don't mean to be rude, but I'm just being like, if someone said to me, "What is it about Parsons? Like, what is he good at?" I would say, I don't know.
Brilliant. I don't even know how I'm meant to like reply.
I feel like me and you are like, those double acts where one guy is like just the absolute, star, and the other one, isn't that how like Penn and Teller fell out, and like people like that, like, I don't know, Laurel and Hardy, did they fall out because just Hardy wasn't fun anymore? I mean, yeah, actually, you look a bit like Hardy.
A bit before my time, Edward. I've heard the name, but I wouldn't really
Actually was, yeah.
you're referencing. Right, let's jump
Anyway,
in.
because I've only got about 18%, so you've probably
You
got
have,
15 minutes. Good luck.
and also you're a little bit behind, but we'll make it work. Firstly, recap on the weekend's events. I said to you at the time, obviously, about the knockdown and everything. I think there was a little bit of sort of going on online about maybe the scoring and stuff, but I think even if the knockdown would have counted, it would have been ruled a split decision win in Chantelle Cameron's favour, in Katie Taylor's favour. So none of that changes. But now you've sort of processed it all. What are your thoughts off the back of the weekend?
I mean, just an incredible fight. I mean, a great night of boxing. One of the best atmospheres I've ever witnessed. I mean, you were there. I think everyone who was there would say the same. An incredible fight, a war of attrition. Watch the knockdown back. It's kind of hard to see without slow-mo. The feet were definitely tangled. You know, it was a jab. She went over. Was it the feet? Was it the balance? Was it, you know, I don't know. But I have to be honest, like, I think you can make a case for both. And I can't really win, because if I say, yeah, the feet were tangled, it wasn't a knockdown, then I'm just a Katie Taylor fanboy. And if it's, you know, if it's Chantelle Cameron, and it was actually balanced or whatever it was, and I say it should have been a knockdown, then you're an idiot. But
You can piss off someone, whatever happens.
I think in the heat of the moment, the decision could have gone either way in terms of the knockdown. In all honesty, I do think the feet were tangled, but at the same time, if the ref doesn't see it, or, you know, then he can quite easily score that a knockdown. Basically, I thought the fight was fantastic. I thought Katie started like a train. I thought she was 3-1, 4-1 up in the first half of the fight, and then I thought Chantelle came back. Katie was holding on, literally at the end. You know, some talk about, you know, should she have been warned for holding? She probably should have been warned for holding. But as I said to someone at the time, if she's warned for holding, she probably stops holding. But she's also smart, and she's using her experience in that situation to box in flurries and then tie Chantelle Cameron up. Thought Chantelle was excellent. The cut was obviously affected her. Katie's face was bashed to pieces. It was a very physical fight. And just probably the performance of Katie's career to win. She definitely won the fight. No doubt about that. I don't think there's many that didn't think she won the fight. And yeah, just an incredible moment, incredible atmosphere, and a great night all round, really, of you know, some great fights, great entertainment, and but particularly the main event.
Well, Edward, I suppose let's pick up on that. A short trip up the road and you go to Belfast this week. An absolute humdinger of a card, and certainly a main event with Michael Conlan and Jordan Gill. I'm gutted I can't be there, but sort of preview fight week's all going to unfold from tomorrow. How excited are you? Because this is a bit of a new one when we saw it with Conlan boxing and everything, but a really exciting one.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've been waiting for an excuse to go back to Belfast for a long time. 7 years
Wow.
since we've been to Belfast with Ryan Burnett. I can't actually believe it. Always been incredible. We have another great crowd on Saturday, which is particularly pleasing after obviously a sold out arena just not too far away in Dublin last week. So just a great night of boxing. Of course, Conlan against Gill, really good fight. Cannot wait for Kevin Adjarko against Troy Williamson. I think it's a brilliant fight. Must win fight for both there. I love the fight, of course, between McKenna and Crocker, and Sean McComb as well against Maxwell. Great fight. 4 brilliant TV fights. Throw in a bit of Cameron Vong. Throw in Leigh Wood for his professional debut as well. Look out for him, young man that's going to go all the way. And it's just a great night of boxing in Belfast. And like I said, looking forward to a great atmosphere and a big fight for Michael Conlan. It's really, I think, the loser on Saturday is done, to be honest with you, in Conlan Gill. And I think sometimes we talk about that and the fighters don't like to say it, but I think that is a fair reflection of the main event on Saturday.
Well, Mick is the favourite, and a lot of people are almost like overlooking Jordan a little bit and talking about the fights for him afterwards. I suppose sticking with that, we know that there's quite an exciting mix of fighters and fights you could make, especially off the back of Wood Warrington, and then you look at Jordan Gill here, Joe Cordina in the mix as well. Do you potentially put the winner in with a Joe Cordina if Conlan wins? We know that that Wood fight was something that was just an absolute spectacle in itself. I mean, there's so many options there, right?
Yeah, I think obviously Joe Cordina's just looking for the biggest fight possible. Could that come against the winner of that fight? I mean, certainly Michael Conlan in Belfast, or he's even got the Irish fans that travel. Could you even do that fight in New York? You know, could work well. Michael Conlan against Leigh Wood. massive fight for the City Ground. The Irish will travel for that one, certainly. Michael Conlan against Josh Warrington. Jordan Gill against Josh. I mean, there's just the winner. Put it this way: the winner of Conlan Gill is going to be in a massive fight next, and that's what's on the line for both those guys. I expect it to be a really entertaining fight. Both guys can get hit. Both guys have got silky skills. Both guys can punch a little bit as well. I think the fight will be over inside 6 rounds, and I think it'll be a really entertaining fight.
Well, Eddie, you hate how I ask you every interview, and it is that time in this interview. I'm sure on your bingo sort of card of what's going to come up, you will be expecting Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. Now, yesterday, something dropped from the mail. I'm sure your phone was blowing up. Everyone in boxing sort of going mad. We've had so many announcements about announcements, and I suppose when they're not actually coming from you and just put out, it's all so much speculation. But if I'm reading it right, it's reportedly expected to be finalised this week, targeted for February the 3rd at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Appeal in Ben's UKAD case over his 2 positive drugs tests from last year remain ongoing. Not decided if appeal will be heard by National Anti-Doping Panel or Court of Arbitration for Sport. Firstly, any movement? Is this true? Are we expecting it to be finalised this week?
Yeah, I actually spoke to Riaf, who wrote that article, and if you look at the article, the first thing it says is it's on, and then in the first paragraph it says expected to be finalised this week. So I think that definitely the second part of that is closer to the truth. It's not on until the fight is signed, and it's not signed. So firstly, the fight isn't on, but I think hope is a better word, to finalise it this week. We've kind of said to both teams, Conor Benn has already asked us to look at additional options for him on February the 3rd, because he can't just wait on Chris Eubank. But I hope that Kell can get some movement this week. And normally about this time, it's really put up or shut up time. It's a situation where you have to make your move. I think we're 9 weeks out on Saturday from the fight. So we would want to really announce the fight this weekend, the beginning of next week. And if we can't get that done, then we will definitely look at other options for Conor Benn. But we're all hopeful it can get finalised. I do expect to finalise it this week, yeah.
Just picking up on that then, you say Conor's asked for some potential other opponents for February the 3rd. Does that mean that as of right now, all systems are a go on your side? It's now down to Kell, Team Sauerland and Chris Eubank Jr.?
Yeah, we're good to go. We can sign that contract with Chris Eubank Jr. tomorrow from our side. Conor's up for it. It's the fight he's wanted for a long time, but he also won't wait past this week because, he needs to prepare. He needs his time for the fight. He's given me, 3 or 4 names that he likes at 147 or close to. And he just wants a massive fight next, But of course, for both guys, for Conor and for Eubank, it's just the fight, and it would be madness if it didn't happen, but we'll see.
Just on this appeal then, we know that this was a process. I think initially it was all expected to be wrapped up within the 8 weeks. Where are we at with that? How much movement is there sort of?
Yeah, I mean, Riaf was right with that, obviously that who's going to hear the case, and then the case has to be set. So I expect that to take place probably after the Eubank fight. It's been a frustrating period. But, at the same time, as we've said before, he's not suspended until that case is heard, which we strongly believe. Don't forget, he won the first case, and we strongly believe he'll win the appeal from the Board of Control. So we want to get that moving. But at the same time, he's going to fight. He's scheduled to fight. He will fight on February the 3rd. And, hopefully it'll be Chris Eubank Jr.
If it's not Chris Eubank Jr., is there a chance that he goes and fights someone in the States?
Yeah, I mean, Jaron Ennis, Keith Thurman, Maros Barros, Virgil Ortiz. These are all guys that Conor wants to face. He wants to challenge himself again. They're all really tough fights, as is Chris Eubank Jr., because it's up at 160. So he just wants to jump in. He had that run out recently. The cobwebs are blown off. And now he just wants to challenge himself. And he doesn't really care who. He just wants a date and an opponent. But we're kind of like saying, look, just give Eubank another few days because we don't want to lose this fight. It's the biggest fight in the country. And I do expect to get it over the line, but it's just something that Eubank does, which is kind of push it to the wire. And it happened last time. It took probably 9 weeks to close the fight last time. But we're at the wire. So hopefully we can get it done.
Moving on, off the back of the weekend, Boxer tweeted that they want to do Caroline Dubois next versus Katie Taylor at Croke Park. Your reaction?
Yeah, I said to Shane McGuigan today, because he was in for a meeting, and I said that was like a very quick way to lose popularity for your fighter. And it weren't even, I know Caroline calls out Katie Taylor, but Caroline Dubois is a really good talent. She's never boxed anyone. She's never really had a competitive fight. Caroline Dubois will go on and be a world champion. There is no doubt. So, but I think Caroline, it's fine for Caroline to call out. But, when it's like, yes, we're putting her in the mix for Croke Park. I mean, you're not really putting her in the mix, are you? Because one, Katie Taylor's with Matchroom and DAZN, and you wouldn't fight on DAZN because we've seen that a million times, and pulling all your fighters out of life-changing opportunities in purse bids, etc. So it's just clout chasing, really, which is fine. But if you read the responses from that tweet, it didn't really go down particularly well. And I rate Caroline, I really do. I think she's a tremendous fighter. But, but at the same time, all of those fighters have to chase the champions, ready or not, And like I say, I do really believe Caroline will be a world champion, but we have to make a fight of magnitude, and Caroline Dubois, with all due respect, is not yet a fight of magnitude. I'm sure it will be one day, whether that's in Katie Taylor's lifetime or whether they can do a good enough job to that a big fight. But, obviously our sights are set on Chantelle Cameron trilogy, Amanda Serrano rematch. We'll have to see.
Mauricio Sullivan has come out and said that Joshua Wilder next year would likely be a WBC final eliminator if it happens next year. Obviously, we understand that that is the ideal plan for 2024. Does that have any impacts on sort of the whole Hrgovic final eliminator situation? Is that still within your plans?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. It's very likely that after Fury Usyk 1, if that happens, the belts will fragment, particularly the IBF. If that fragments and Joshua beats Wallin on December 23rd, it would be Hrgovic against Joshua. But by then, it's very likely that Joshua Wilder could be contracted and probably will be contracted. So, I think it's going to be different. We won't be able to U-turn at that point. We're full steam ahead trying to make the Wilder fight. And a WBC final eliminator, I mean, if that's what it's called, but I'll just call it the biggest fight in boxing at that point. When that fight happens, and the only way that fight happens is if they both win on December 23rd on the same card. And if they do win on the same card on the same night, that fight is the biggest fight in boxing. So final eliminator, whatever you want to call it, I'm not saying it doesn't matter, but really it's just the fight.
PBC close to finalising an Amazon Prime deal. Do you know if any sort of talks were ever close to materialising with DAZN? How does this change the boxing landscape?
I don't know. I know they're, well, I presume, I'm pretty sure there was talks with DAZN. Getting a TV deal is good, but it's the value of that deal. It's the value of the rights fee, because that's what's going to enable you to put on big shows, keep your talent happy, keep them active, how many shows, how much per show, etc. So, if it's Amazon Prime, great to bring a new broadcaster to the market, and that's just a sign of the future. We all know that streaming is the future, and everyone's starting to see that with the offerings, available particularly in sport, but of course in boxing.
Do you think it makes any difference as to sort of your working relationship with them when other broadcasters start getting involved?
With PBC?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the reasons that we haven't done a lot of business in the past with PBC is because of Stephen Espinosa, and probably because of Al Heyman. I don't think they're my biggest fans. But I think when you move broadcaster, maybe it's a blank piece of paper, a blank canvas to start looking at different opportunities. And if the money's not there and you need to get your talent out, you need to start working with people. When PBC came on the scene, wow, we were making so many fights with them. Jamie McDonald, James DeGale, Lee Selby, I mean, Joshua Martin, like we were making so many fights, and that slowed down because they really wanted to keep things in-house. It wasn't just a reflection of men. It was just a reflection of the PBC. They wanted to just make in-house fights. They've said it publicly. And I think that needs to change, because I don't think the Amazon deal's going to have the depth, the financial depth, just to be able to keep their stable happy. So, and that's the same with us. That's why we're always up for making into-house fights, if you like, because it enables you to keep your roster happy. And if the value of those fights, and if it's the right fight for them, then why not?
Edward, there's always some funny memes that come out when Matchroom lose a purse bid. Yesterday, Kholmatov Ford didn't go your way, went to Top Rank. Just your reflection on that?
Yeah, we've actually won quite a few purse bids lately. I mean, particularly, was it Oshaki Foster against Rocky Hernandez? There was another 2 or 3 that we've run recently. But anyway, we lost that one. They don't talk about the ones we won. They only talk about the ones we lose. Again, as always, in a purse bid situation, we bid the value of the fight, what we believe is the value of the fight. Top Rank are repping Kholmatov by all accounts. Cole Moretti even. Oh, I said that. Said at the purse bid yesterday, and that's the value they put on the fight. Was it $60,000 more than us? Ray Ford wins the fight, wherever it is. So we'll be behind him. I believe they're talking about February time for that fight. Ray will be ready, and I see him becoming the new world champion.
Liam Smith was there at the weekend. He's obviously a free agent. Have any conversations sort of materialised? He's always said that he's loved the working relationship with Matchroom.
Yeah, I'm not sure how deep, but we've definitely had some chats between Liam and Frank and his management team. Good fighter, very popular. Always loved working with Liam and his brothers, and yeah, definitely up for entertaining a conversation with those guys.
Now, you had Kell Brook in for talks at some point in the office. I can't remember when it was. We're probably talking a couple of months back now. But on that situation, we know that last time we were out in Dublin, him and Conor had a little spat and stuff. Are you intending on a Kell Brook return to the ring at all?
I don't know. I've not spoke to him for a while. He's gone a little bit quiet. The thing is with Kell, you need to give him that time to prepare for a fight, and it's difficult to commit to a fight that far out. So, if Kell needs 16 weeks or whatever it is to actually make 150, or probably more likely 154, can you get a fight agreed within that time frame? Sometimes, like if I went to Kell now and said February the 3rd, Conor Benn, he wouldn't be ready for February the 3rd, in my opinion, because it's only 9 weeks, So it's difficult with the guys that have been out of the ring for a while, need that extra time to actually make the time frame work. But I hope Kell fights again, because I think there's still a lot he can offer. You saw that in the Amir Khan fight. I still like Conor Benn against Kell Brook. And yeah, I don't know if he's in the gym, but I hope we see him back.
Billy Joe Saunders, Conor posted a little photo of him. Now, he was there Sheffield week, made his intent quite serious about a ring return. Also has gone a little bit quiet. Is there anything you're working on behind the scenes?
Just training away. I mean, I like him in the co-main event of the Saunders Ben Eubank fight. I think it's the perfect slot for him. He wants to come back around 175, then move back down to 68.
Would he have to have a proper opponent to get that co-main event slot?
Yeah, it would be a proper opponent. I mean, it's not going to be a 50-50.
Oh, of course.
He's been out of the ring for 3 years. So just a competitive fight where he can go through a full camp, get his weight down, and then move from that into 168 pounds. Maybe even, if Chris Eubank was to win the fight, Saunders Eubank is a massive fight at 168. Obviously, if Conor Benn wins the fight, then Saunders could look to fight somebody else, Balanga, perhaps, John Ryder if he beats Munguia, or Munguia. I mean, there's loads of fights out there for him.
2024. Now, there was a little bit of talk. Well, you said sort of, oh, have I lost you? No, you're still here. For an initial approach for Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall. Josh Taylor's then come out and said that he doesn't want that fight until the end of 2024. Are you starting to put things together? And is there any more from last week, what you told me on that fight between those two?
Not on that fight. I was disappointed to see Josh saying he'd take that fight at the end of next year. I don't know why we just can't do that fight now, really. But in terms of our planning for 2024, absolutely deep in there. January, February, March, obviously there's talk of Leigh Wood in May at the City Ground. Catterall Taylor, hopefully. Ben Eubank, Katie Taylor, hopefully at Croke Park. So everything's getting locked in now. Stateside, Japan, UK, Mexico, all territories around the world. So it's our intention, probably by certainly the day of reckoning, to have that schedule locked in for January, February, and certainly March. I think that's something that we've done really well. I think that's something the Zone have done really well, is mapping out the schedule for people to get excited about 8, 9, 10 weeks out. And that's what we hope to do for the beginning of 2024.
Well, I'm backing out the old calendar because you're the only person that knows all the Saturdays in the year. Well, not the only person. I'm sure there's a good few people, but you're someone who pick up on me if I get it wrong. I'm assuming Jan 6 nothing. Jan 13th, I believe you go to Las Vegas, or that is your plan at the minute, correct?
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, also Callum Smith is fighting Beterbiev that night. So
yeah.
if we don't have a show, I'll be over in Canada to watch Callum Smith knock Beterbiev spark out.
Okay, the 20th, is that a little Tokyo humdinger?
Possibly.
Any rumours as to who could be on that?
Not yet. We've got a very interesting concept for that one. It's being worked on at the moment.
Okay, the 27th.
Could be a UK event.
Headlined by?
You'll find out soon.
Third is obviously Conor Benn provisional.
Ben Eubank, hopefully.
Yeah. And then
I'm not going to go through every Saturday because I'm ultimately giving it away. Feb 10th or 9th, I believe, is a Mexico show. Feb 6th, 17. Is Fury Usyk, so no show for us on that day.
Makes sense.
Feb 24. Oh, battery's going. Feb 24. I think that's a US event. March. I mean, I'm not going to go into too much because
just in saying that, there'll be some madman on Twitter who will put people into place. So that'll do it. Yeah, but they can't see, so you just look. You just look like you busted.
Well, that's what you would do.
Move.
I can't believe you're not on this Zoom in video because
I actually can now as well. We're no longer with the previous sponsors who would allow me on camera.
So famous.
Yeah, of course. Right. Finally, that is actually it from me. How much would it cost to have the general? By the way, I can't people message me saying make merch, and actually a few people replied saying they'd buy that. I don't think I can do it. I think I'd be selling my soul. But how much would it cost the general to, like, what bet would you have to lose to wear a hoodie with my face that said the Parsons effect like that man did?
I don't know. I think we should do something for charity. Why don't we make a little range or something? Do you know what I mean? Like the Parsons effect T-shirt or the Generale and like a picture of me. Maybe like get me with a cigar and a leather jacket with a collar up, shades, the General, and you, the Parsons effect, because it's so cringe. But what we could do,
bad. Yeah, but who is buying that
for charity?
Okay, fine.
Yeah. So I don't know, make the T-shirts like 20 quid, 25 quid. Find someone that's prepared to do it. If we do it quick enough, maybe we do it for some kind of children's Christmas charity, and we can donate 100% of the money. And I think it'd be quite amusing.
I was going
to
say 80% and give me 20 because I'm not as financially secure as a big man. But now you've thrown a charity one in the mix. I really have to go.
I can't believe you're taking money out of a charity.
So. Wow!
Didn't know you were that kind of guy, but each to their own.
Edward, as always, thank you for making the time for speaking to us Tuesday night. Have a lovely time in Belfast.
Tune in Belfast this Saturday live on the Zone. Huge card.
What are you going to do without me, geez?
Have a fucking lovely time and have a lane and not be annoyed constantly by some little dweeb at my ankles going, a little bit for TikTok, Generale.
Stop calling me a dweeb. Bye-bye, Edward.
Bye.